Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. More Blood and Plunder here as we continue on looking at the factions moving along from the Brits over into the French. And today we have another powerhouse one, and that is the French army. So it's similar to when we got through, the main Spanish and British forces. Now the real sort of frontline French army in the New World here, 1700, 1730 time period wise. And as you can see, there's quite a bit going on. We have force options, special rules, and all kinds of other stuff that we would normally see here. So starting off with the force special rules. And we saw something similar here with, I think, a few of the British forces, but the force's commander may spend 2 command points to issue a platoon action to all units with expertly drilled special rules within command range. Obviously, picking a commander with a solid command range here is going to be sort of enticing and kind of incentivized so that you can get the most out of this. Otherwise, you're going to have to really bunch up just to be in that command range. And then also, key thing here, you got to have 2 command points to spend in the first place, right? So that kind of narrows some of the choices down. The controlling player chooses a single type of action, and all units that are in formation and are not shaken may take that action, including the commander's unit. So it's really just a huge way of sort of conveying the fact that this is like an army operating and very, not to make a pun here, but very much expertly drilled. So they know how to act in concert with each other. So that's a quick way of getting a lot of action out of, well, this one special ability here, and really getting units moved, units fighting, shooting, whatever it might be. We're getting the best out of that. And ideally, throughout the course of the game, if we can get this to go multiple times, right, we're just taking more actions than the opponent, which usually should put us in a good spot. Now, the second ability, the force's commander may spend one of its unit actions to gain an additional command point during its activation, is another way to sort of make sure that we have those 2 command points available all the time. And that's where you could, I guess, ultimately take like the lower end commanders, sacrifice one of your unit's activations to really bump up into another command point. But it's probably still going to be more effective in the long run if we can afford a better commander with more command points to start with. So, a commander with 2 could here sack an action to technically have 3, use the above ability, and then still have 1 left over for something else. And obviously a commander with 3 command points is going to be pretty spicy here, where we can have a potential 4th command point. Now, unit-wise, pretty simple and straightforward. Core units is really just going to be one of 2 things here: the Compagnie Franche de la Marine, or the Fusiliers, and nothing wrong with either of those. Fantastic units, especially the Fusiliers. But then the support units, where we're really spoiled for choices and diversity here. We got the French Grenadiers, and just like the British Grenadiers, some really crack troops there. We can also still bring in Milice des Caraïbes, or Milice Canadienne, so basically our militias. But then we have the native support too, so we can go warriors or braves, or late flibustiers if we wanted that option as well. So again, we have to make some choices, right? It's this or that on some of these, but we can really put some neat things together. Young warriors or young braves as well for Native Americans. And then finally, we could just bring in some artillerymen as well if we needed that. So lots of choices there to round out and give us the capabilities that we need. Moving along, command options, right? Any of the standard commanders, but then also Daniel de Auger de Supercas, René Duguay-Trouin. I mean, we're not aiming much for the pronunciation on this one, or Henri Louis de Chavagnac. So we got 3 special characters there, and then the usual suite of standard commanders. But wait, there is a little bit more on this force that it can offer us. We could do a force option here, and this one's called Canadians. So if this force includes no Caribbean militia, so Milice des Caraïbes, it may include braves and young braves as core units, and coureurs de bois as support units. So this is another one of those wonderful things in Blood and Plunder. There's so many choices that you can already, just from looking at this list on, what the game allows you to do. And then, the size of the game we're playing, etc. The commander choice is obviously going to make a big impact as well. But here we get something pretty neat when we have these force options. So by basically sacrificing the 1 unit in the force, which, we don't necessarily need them, right? And we're just making more of a Canadian-themed list. Now we have many more choices in the core selection, really. Really going, adding braves and young braves. So now we have 4 possible choices, and really we can even theme the list in many different ways now, much more easily, right? A lot more native troops. But then, because it's not listed anywhere above, right? So now we can actually bring in a whole other unit and have that be a support unit. So we're swapping around the army list to create really a sort of third, or not third, but sorry, a second sort of like hybrid force if we go this route, right? We're going to ditch the Caribbean guys, but then we're going to move these the Braves and the Young Braves up into core, and then add in a whole new unit, which is again the Coureur de Bois as a support, and then again that just adds some different wrinkles to it. And really, in collecting like this one specific sort of like subfaction of the French, then right, you could really get so much more mileage out of it by just, hey, now we have even more available, and we're going to swap some things around. So really, you could just make this like your regular force, right? And you see this in other factions, but then you can just play this in so many different ways that really you shouldn't get tired of it, but also you can keep your opponents guessing and really like master this one sub-faction and everything it can do. That's just one of the wonderful things of this game. There's so many different things you can do and test out with it and really find what works for you, but also play some cool historical themes on top of it. So that being said, guys, let us know your stories of success or failure with the French army here specifically, and how have you focused on building this list? What options do you think are the best? Do you think the standard commanders suffice given the 4 special rules, or does it make sense to bring in the named special characters here? Hit us up in the comments, like and subscribe. We'll have more Blood and Plunder for you soon. Thanks for watching.